Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the second meeting of English Morphology. In this meeting, we will learn about simple words, complex words, and morphemes. This video will not take too long because besides I will take too long time too in order to render the video. I think that you will understand it very easily because I believe that you have already learned most of it in the Intro to Linguistics subject. So let's just start by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, first, from this group of words that you see, which one is the simple word and which one is the complex word? I think you might be able to guess which one is simple word and which one is complex words. But in order to know whether your answers are correct or not, we have to know the meaning of morphemes first. So morphology and morphemes. Morphology is derived from the Greek word morph, which means form or shape. Morphology means the study of words' forms, structure of words, and with relationships between words involving the morphemes that compose them. Jadi dalam studi morfologi kalian akan mempelajari tentang pembentukan kata. Ini pasti kalian sudah mengerti ya. Kemudian struktur kata dan hubungan antara morfem yang membentuk kata tersebut. Jadi sebuah kata bisa terdiri dari satu atau lebih morfem. And then what is morpheme? According to you, a morpheme is a minimal unit of meaning or grammatical function. And then according to Parker and Riley, a morpheme is a minimal unit having more or less constant meaning associated with more or less constant form. Apa maksudnya ini? Jadi, sebuah kata cenderung memiliki bentuk yang konstan. Dan bentuk itu cenderung terasosiasi dengan makna yang konstan pula. Tapi di sini ada istilah more or less ya cenderung gitu. Jadi tidak selalu sebuah morfem memiliki bentuk yang konstan dan terasosiasi dengan makna yang konstan pula. Contohnya seperti apa? Nanti kita akan mengetahuinya. Let's understand the definition of simple words and complex words first. Simple words simple words consist of a single morpheme that can stand alone as a word. For example, walk, work, etc. So you have to know that a word is a morpheme too, but that morpheme can stand alone. And by standing alone, it has its own meaning. Jadi kata walk and work here are morphemes too. Complex words consist of one morpheme that can stand alone as a word plus one or more affixes. For example, walks, unbreakable, demagnetization, etc. So these words have one word or one morpheme that can stand alone as a word plus one affix, for example the word walks, and then more than one affix, for example unbreakable. So what is exactly a morpheme that can stand alone as a word? We call it as the core of the word or root. Jadi akar dari semua kata ini ya, kata complex words. Akar dari complex words, we call it as a root. So you have to understand it because we will find this term again in our future meetings. Setelah kalian memahami definisi dari simple words and complex words, it means that you can answer the question in our first slide easily, yeah. Okay, so this is how we break down complex words. I think you will be able to do this because it's very simple, and maybe you have already learned it also in Intro to Linguistics ya. Di sini contohnya adalah writers. The root of this word is right. Jadi jangan lupa simbol dari morfem adalah ini, kurung kurawal ini. Right is the root of the word. It has the meaning to make marks that represent letters or numbers on a surface in form of a verb ya, an activity. Jadi jangan lupa, misalnya kita mau mendefinisikan verb harus diawali dengan to make marks that represent letters, blah blah blah. So this is a kind of activity, and it has a morpheme in form of a suffix which means the agent or the performer yang melakukan aktivitas ini. Agent means the one or the person that does the activity. And then we have another suffix, we have another morpheme, as, that refers to the amount of the performer, jumlah dari orang yang melakukannya atau subjek yang melakukannya. It is more than one. And then another word is undesirable. So the root of this word is desire, bukan sire ya, meskipun kita juga sering melihat ada morpheme de, for example demagnetization, something like that. So desire is the root, which means it is an activity to want something. And the root desire, it has a prefix an, which means the absence of, jadi ketidaktersediaan. And then it has another morpheme, which is the suffix able, which means the possibility of. So this is how you break down complex words into morphemes. The meaning and form of a morpheme is generally constant, but not always. Jadi saya sudah menjelaskan bahwa morpheme itu memiliki bentuk yang konstan, tapi itu cenderung memiliki bentuk yang konstan, but it is not always. And it is associated with more or less constant meaning too. Jadi cenderung memiliki makna yang konstan pula, but it is not always. For example, the morphemes in writer and taller have different meanings. For the word writer, it means the agent or the performer, orang yang melakukan the activity write. But for the word taller, the morpheme or the suffix means a comparative degree, jadi lebih tinggi. A comparative degree, more tall than subject. So although they have the same form, but the meanings are different. Another example is the morpheme ed is used to indicate a past form of verb in walked. Jadi kita tahu bahwa verb to or past form of verb of most verbs in English is always indicated by the morpheme ed. Ya, jadi untuk mengetahui bahwa sebuah verb dalam past form atau verb to dalam bahasa Inggris biasanya tuh seringnya ada suffix ed ya. But it is not always. Jadi untuk mengetahui atau untuk sebuah kata memiliki makna past form tidak selalu memiliki bentuk ed. For example, go, the past form is went. Jadi malah berubah semua bentuknya ini, tidak memiliki tambahan morfem yang lain. And then Fromkin said that words have internal structure, which is rule governed. For example, unbelievable and believable. Jika kita lihat, kedua kata ini sama-sama memiliki 3 morfem yang juga bentuknya juga sama, yaitu the root believe, kemudian 2 morphemes, un and able. Tapi unbelievable itu adalah sebuah kata, tapi believe unable bukan sebuah kata. Kenapa? Padahal dua-duanya itu memiliki root yang sama, memiliki morphemes yang sama. Itu karena structure-nya berbeda. The structure that is allowed in English is the left one, unbelievable. Believe unable is not correct because it doesn't obey the rule in forming words, in word structure. So that is why believe unable is not a word in English. Dari mana ini? Apa peraturan untuk struktur katanya itu? Dari sananya ya, yang bikin Englishnya itu. Which is why we said it as rule governed. Sudah ada peraturannya sendiri. Okay, so that's all for today. This is the assignment for next week. You get a news article written in English. It could be from the Jakarta Post or Al Jazeera or whatever, but make sure that the news is not a hoax, yeah? You have to make sure that the news is trusted. Jangan lupa newsnya jangan yang terlalu lama ya. Kalau yang terlalu lama itu bukan news lagi, bukan new. So maybe you can take it from the year to 2020 or 2021. And then you have to make a list of the simple and complex words from the text. Minimum 20 words for each category. And then you have to break down the morphemes of the complex words. You can do it like the examples on page 3. Yang tadi yang ada rootnya, kemudian morphemes yang menyusunnya itu apa saja, prefix or suffix, or infix if you find some. And then you have to add the meaning too in those morphemes, in those structure. Okay, I think that's all for today. We will have our discussion in form of written, in the comment section in Google Classwork. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.